I'm Julie Clare, one of the singers from the Rebel Chorus. The third movement of the London Requiem, the Gradual and Tract, is greatly inspired by war. The quote chosen to exemplify war loss is found here in Hoop Lane Cemetery at the grave of Harry Byng, who died aged 25. The words are provided by his mother, Ida Byng. I bore a man-child and I gave him back to God.
I bore a man-child and I gave him back to God. And now there is no more of him than this, my bride. Forbidding me to grieve unduly that he passed on. Because a man he lived, and as a man he died.
For the recording of the London Requiem, composer Benjamin Till asked his own mother, Noelle, to sing part of Harry Byng's tribute.
Died of wounds received in action, was leading his men at first to bed.
On a separate plaque attached to the Byng family monument, we discover that Ida lost a second son, Leonard, at the very end of the Great War.
I could not have been so brave as she was, or so strong about it. I would have been in absolute pieces for both of them, particularly losing the second one after all that time. And I certainly would not be saying, as she was, well, you know, it was for the country and all the rest of it.
In the Second World War, the threat of death was brought to London's civilian population. As many as 20,000 were killed during the Blitz, with the East End bearing the brunt. Tower Hamlets Cemetery Park remains the final resting place of many Blitz victims and was itself bombed 5 times during the war. Several of those who died in the largest civilian tragedy of the war, at Bethnal Green Tube Station, are here too. Rather than a bomb, it was a stumble on darkened stairs and the ensuing crush as anti-aircraft missiles sounded in a nearby park, which caused 173 deaths on March 3rd, 1943. Many of the dead were children.
So it was a dark March night. 3 buses arrived at the station entrance at the same time as a woman at the bottom fell, holding a baby, and she pulled a man on top of her, and everybody else fell on top. It took just over 3 hours for the last person to be pulled out. My mother was pulled out. Her first thought was certainly not to go to hospital, but to find out what had happened to her mother and her sister. Her sister did survive, but her mother was found in the mortuary next day. Apparently my grandmother had very dark hair, but it turned white. It was 3 hours of people suffering. Nobody knows how long they were alive before they were suffocated, before they died.
For decades, the incident was barely spoken of, but following the 50th anniversary, remaining survivors and victims' relatives began raising funds for a suitable memorial.
This is a sample of one of the bronze plaques. These are very special. These are going to be personal testimonials by people connected with the disaster, survivors and relatives of survivors. They're going to paint a picture of what happened. It's not a formal statement of history. It's a kind of very sort of personal view of what happened.
Another vivid memory of East End wartime London comes from the playwright Sir Arnold Wesker.
Well, there's absolutely nothing here that would tell you there was a Whitechapel except possibly the water fountain. Only that will tell you that there might have been a church here. My memories are of it being bombed, and I can remember we used to swing on ropes from one part of the ruined church to the other.
Leah Wesker, a trade unionist and Sir Arnold's mother, lies in East Ham's Jewish cemetery. Sir Arnold has agreed to sing the words inscribed on her grave in the London Requiem recording.
She lived
passionately and fought for right, endlessly, loved family and friends deeply, deeply, deeply.
Those who died in concentration camps, like my grandparents, Ernst and Stella Clare, had no graves. That's why so many of their descendants chose to memorialise them by putting the names on their own graves, as with Father Jacob Zweig. My father chose to memorialise his parents, Ernst and Stella Clare, by writing a book, Last Waltz in Vienna. The quote used in the front is by Voltaire: "History never repeats itself, man always does." It's a quote that Ben has used in another movement of the Requiem, but I prefer some words from this movement, Lux Perpetua, in the hope that my father too has found perpetual light.